Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for some indie comic reviews, and in these indie comic reviews I'll be covering EC Comics, Outlaw Showdown, and also Speed Racer, Tales from the Road. Now both of these are a slight anthology of sorts, or the first one's more of an anthology than the second one. Where the second one only has 2 stories, the first one has 5 stories. I'll now get things ready and organized for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So, as we move into Outlaw Showdown, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? It does, to which I give a 7.5 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art, which connects to, say, all of the stories, or I'll try to get as many as the stories as possible. As we have a look around the beginning, the middle, and of course the end throughout this particular comic. So let's get started on that right now. So just looking through the front, we also get the titles of the stories that are in this. And with this first story, it centers around a murder that happens on basically an Indian reservation in this time period. And of course we have a deputy of sorts looking to get justice for what actually occurred here. As the story progresses and they end up chasing up, say, some of the villains who are responsible for the death, they also have something supernatural they encounter too. As we start to move into, say, the next story, this one involves some work that is happening in the mines, until we move into the next story, which involves a bit of a snake oil salesman. Practically today's version of the pharmaceutical industry, until of course we start to move towards the end, to which we have another encounter, and of course something in the back. Moving to the area of the art rating, overall, like throughout all the stories, I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the stories itself. Now I'm just covering it all as one story, and I'll be giving it my overall rating. So the next question is, did these stories address time, location, and cast? Well, for some of them it did, others it didn't. But at least we got what we got. So in the area of time, we had the year of 1883 as well as 1880 show up within a couple of the stories. Next is the locations. We got to see Oklahoma, the desert, the Appalachia Mountains. Of course, we had Nevada and California. Last but not least, the area for the cast of characters. We had Shen Li and also someone known as Matt Roundtree. My overall rating is a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Tales, or Speed Racer, Tales from the Road. So as we start to move into Speed Racer, Tales of the Road, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story or stories? Sure enough it does, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art around both of the stories. Now, one story is a little bit longer than the other one, so I'll go ahead and show you those. Alright, this is the internal, so we know which characters that this will be centering on. So we know that the first story will be focused on Racer X, or Rex, and the second one will be based on Sprittle, which is actually a smaller story for a side character within the series. So as the story begins, we are following the character of Rex, or Racer X, as he is in Baltia. We do get a bit of a flashback of sorts as to what is happening and occurring, and of course the people he's up against. And as you can see, he's not afraid to get dirty, just to make sure not only friends and family are safe, but also other people too. We do get quite a bit of what is occurring in the story until the story ends and we begin with Sprite's story. Even though it's the smallest story of the two, I still quite enjoyed it, as this character is a little bit of a mischief maker. So for the internal art, covering both stories, I decided to give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the story racing. Now I'll just go through what was actually covered in, say, the main story, and then I'll give its rating, and then I'll move on to story 2. So for the first story, we had 2 years. For the time we had 2 years ago, we had Baltia. Of course, we had Rex, or Racer X, and we did actually get to see like some of the things of what was happening there. It did actually feel like the more serious story out of both of the stories, to which I give the story an 8 out of 10. Now, moving into the story racing for the second story, which focuses on Sprite. The main characters that we got to see there was Sprite, a detective, as well as Speed Racer, who was asleep at the time. For my overall story rating for this, I gave a 7.5 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.